Hello and welcome back. Hopefully you guys at home had a nice break, but here we are ready for game number 2 of the day. V3 Esports versus AXIZ. And I'm ready for this one, you know? Both these teams last season, very close together in the standings. This season, maybe a little bit of switch-ups, you know? AXIZ pulling ahead with a 1-0 win yesterday. How are you feeling about it?
Completely different rosters. These are brand new teams. AXIZ completely rebuilt everything. They lost all of those star rookies and also players as well, the veterans as well. Hoglet's left to go to the LLA. Honey stayed with the LJL, but he's on a different team now. He's with Sengoku Gaming, and then they've got new rookies. Only Megamin stayed, and then if you look at V3, Initialize, they're just the academy roster we were talking about with Marble.
It's like, so like, don't get me wrong. We had heard exceptional things about V3 Academy, and they had done a lot of damage in terms of even international scrim results against some of the best teams in the world, like academy teams and stuff. So these guys, there was a bit of hype around them. So like, we were excited to see them, but obviously there was some internal stuff that led to Marble moving over to the Hawks, as we've talked about, and he was the superstar. So they brought in Dress Code, who is a good AD carry from the academy scene, but not at the same level, at least from what we'd seen of someone like Marble. And this leaves us with a very interesting debate to be had, because we had limited information to give expectations about these rosters, especially at the top level. And AXIZ blew my expectations out of the water when they kind of put Hawks to the sword. And V3 on the other side had an okay game versus Burning Core, but the top side of the map, Dice and Flawless, these new imports, did incredible stuff. So this is a chance for both teams to either continue on the trajectory in the form of AXIZ or have V3 stabilize and prove that they are worthy of being up here at the top flight of the LJL.
Well, we will see if they are worthy or not. Is it going to be a death by sword, or are they going to rise from the ashes of their previous defeat? We'll find out as we are going to jump into pick and bans.
There you go. It's a swift one. It just means we have to leave J-Real for a moment. Alas, Sweet Prince, we'll see you after the games. And we've got ourselves a few bans to contend with. Trindanir off the board by AXIZ, who want nothing to do with that. I think that's probably becoming a bit of an LJL meta pick, alongside things like for Poppy being banned away from Yellow Yoshi. Cannot begin to say why this is such a good idea. It did leave Zeri open, and that meant first pick straight away by AXIZ, but a rapid response of the Jinx, which has been a high priority across the world, alongside the Java.
Yeah, I mean, because Zeri's got such a high presence, right? Jinx has become the de facto default pickup. I mean, obviously, we saw a lot of J4 for Unicar over in Academy, so I'm not too surprised to see that Swamp picking up potentially a champion that he's seen a lot of success on with this Viego. I would not be too surprised if we see the double Ruined Isles pick up here, obviously, so Viego as well as Gwen, as she's still open, but we see the Twisted Fate getting locked out. Remember, a lot of Twisted Fates got banned against Megamin in the last season, and a whole split really against him a lot. So won't be playing the Vex, will be on that. Vex is still open, and I wouldn't be too surprised we see Yu-Gi-Oh picking that one up, who looks lovely with that blonde hair at the very front of the team. I'm loving these new photos that they've got for all the players, by the way.
It's very stylish stuff, I know. A little note about Unica's Jarvan as well. He's only ever played it once in his career, but it was... But he did absolutely smash on it. He was 21 KDA last year in the academy, so he destroyed people, though I think V3 were doing that in general. And they've got alongside the Nautilus. And that is, of course, Megamin on the Twisted Fate, which has been very high priority around the world, of course. Slightly enough that I believe that's on 12.3, not 12.2. So still at a higher level of power, if I recall correctly. Alongside the Viego, which I know Nightmare and a few other analysts have sort of been saying, if you're diving into Viego, he feels much happier about it, because you kill someone, you get to turn around all those dive abilities on the team that dove into you.
Did you see Closer yesterday? Because I did. And that's what he was doing.
I certainly did.
Yeah, crazy. Oh, yeah. It's like you set it up. I love the Janna ban. I believe the general consensus is that he might be a Smite top player. Obviously, he's got teleport hovered now, but I mean, hey, their first game out, they bring out the Poppy top.
He's done it once, he'd do it again.
Right? Obviously, it's on his namesake champion, not, well, actually just all-star champion. So, I mean, that makes total sense. Camille being banned away by
the
B3
fact that's
as
now
well.
going to force bans for basically... Sure.
No, go ahead, please. Oh, I think Initialize is being Berlin internet.
I mean, like, No, I'm just saying, like, I was just to continue agreeing with you there.
Okay.
Oh, am I being Berlin interneted? I am.
Oh, okay, that's the lag. Well, the Vex did get banned away, so obviously UJ won't be able to pick up that one. Galio is immediately picked up, so that's going to be mid Galio. So AP damage threat, it's going to be less of an interest, but obviously top lane is still here. They're giving the counter pick over to Washide, so Yellow Yoshi is going to have to blind pick and figure it out. I mean, Gwen is still available, and I'm so surprised. We're playing on patch 12 too, so Gwen is still perfectly fine. Well, actually, she's always good at the moment. So why are we just not seeing that be picked up? I'm surprised if they don't have, honestly, one of the best champions in a lot of scenarios. And against the team that V3 are showing up, Gwen isn't awful. She's not great, though, because Gwen's immune memes don't really work unless the enemy team has a lot of range. But hey, still being hovered by them.
Yeah. But what it also means is between the TF and the Leona, they're going to think about otherwise, think about potentially an Urgot option here, which is very interesting, because what it basically means is TF goes in, Viego throws a bit of damage, and you can sort of execute that first target on a side lane. Interesting to see Yujigo go back towards that Galio. I think that's something he's pulled out before. They've got it alongside the Jarvans. J4 Galio is such a strong combo. They've got the Jinx to be the backline carry threat, and you can sort of see how they're saying, we want to make sure that we get our Jinx fed and run over the game. Nara's a kind of blind option somewhat into the Nara to try and play semi-weak side or really self-sufficient. Makes a lot of sense from V3. It's a bit more of a spicy draft from AXIZ again, who are pulling out some slightly more unusual or newer picks to work with.
Yeah, I mean, they also got the quote most powerful champion currently in the game, and to a lot of pro consensus of Zeri, so they were able to get that one through. The side of V3, they just felt like they had to ban that Xin Zhao. Like, Swamp on this Xin Zhao was clearly causing issues for them, so that's the reason they had to ban that over a Zeri pick. Gwen also was open, but they decided to go for the Urgot, and I mean, I had to like double check my eyes for a moment. I was like, nah, one side, Urgot on the other. Is this Ebby and Apperman? And I had to rub my eyes. Like, oh wait, no, it's Washide and Yellow Yoshi. Right, okay. Just two other Japanese players doing the same thing we've seen before. Could have been Paz there as well, I guess. It's or even Ray Farkey if on the Urgot side.
We definitely have some bruiser top aficionados, I think is the way to put it. And don't get me wrong, I feel that, like, say, Ebby has started to pick up stuff like the Trendemir a bit more recently. I know he's been playing a little bit more of the Gwen in the solo queue and feeling pretty happy on it. Now, you are starting to see some of these people finally pick up, but some of these old dogs are a little bit slow to pick up the new tricks, I feel is the way to put it.
Well, I mean, they haven't had to, and that was part of the reason, right? For a long time in the LJL, Ebby and a few of these other top lanes were just a cream above the crop of the rest, so they didn't have to conform to what everything.
The cream of the cream, you might say, exactly.
Zeros was the Heimerdinger player that brute forced it, and I remember our first spring split initialized in 2020. That first DFM game where 3 bans get thrown to Zeros.
It's that kind of vibe, and there's a little bit of that for this AXIZ team who obviously there are limited expectations for, or there were from our end. Like a lot of these players who didn't know a lot of Dicey, I believe, replaced Nemo for like 1 game, 2 games last year. That was about it to mix success. Yoshi, Yellow Yoshi, I was going to call him Yoshi Pete, which is, of course, I'm thinking Yellow Pete, and I combined the two into some amalgamation of top laners and like AD carries developers of old. Exactly. If anyone knows who Yellow Pete is, I applaud your longevity within the league. That's a Google for the rest of you. But for us right now, this is the Yellow Yoshi, who is a streamer, right? He's been brought in as kind of a little bit of a curveball, who is that big Poppy player who's had that banned away from, and now we can see what he can do on another one of these slightly unusual picks in the Urgot. Yes, it's an okay match into the Nar, but it's not what I'd call a meta pick.
No, not by any stretch of the imagination. And I mean, I think the Urgot is perfectly serviceable in a lot of different spots, but I mean, this is going to be a real test. Like, this is on the big stage now. You're not on your, like, kind of known comfort pick champion. You're not going to get to play some crazy smite top strategy. This is far more meta. This is far more standard. However, they've got a Zeri. They've got a Twisted Fate with Spellbook. Like, there's a lot of options to win the game here from AXIZ's side. They don't have to rely on Yellow Yoshi doing crazy stuff with an Urgot. They can just watch him, and hopefully maybe Sangachu, maybe Swamp or Megumin can take the load. Over on the other side, though, A lot of the damage for V3 is going to be on Dress Code. And Dress Code was that player who was playing Zeri when they were against AXIZ.
He did really well.
When they were against Burning Core, that's right. And he had a decent performance. He was not
game.
the
Like 3-1-1, if I recall correctly. Yeah, like he seemed to be doing pretty well. Like pretty good stuff. And we'll call it out here as well. That actually these are 2 newer AD carries. They like their first timing here in the LJL, as far as I can tell. That's there's a lot for these guys to prove, and both teams with kind of the ability to write their own fates. And while we have some expectations based on almost the lack of information, saying a lot of rookie teams, that's potentially a world where they but crash and burn here. Well, they have got room to rewrite those narratives to come in and be a threat. AXIZ have done that a couple times since we've been casting them.
Oh, I mean, they've done that more than a couple of times. Remember last spring, and to compare it to their summer split of 2021, like it was night and day difference. It was completely matching up to our expectations and then defying all of the odds and everything, and really making stars out of a lot of those players who almost everybody either remained in the LJL or they moved on and was still playing competitive League of Legends. Obviously, that's Hogla over in the LLA. So
they really did.
Like, there is nothing that this team currently feels like they can't do, or at least from an org perspective, since they really came into the LJL. They had a lot of disappointing performances, and they have found upward trajectory. They now need to break into finals. That's what this AXIZ version has got to try and aim towards, because, I mean, other than finals, that's what the org hasn't done yet. That's the next step for them. Is this team going to be able to do it? They've gotten engaged, though.
Oh, yeah, you saw Hettel managed to hook onto the minion there and did get turned around. But of course, nice flame jumps there from Dress Code to separate Dicey from the easy access to the support. Made that a little bit trickier, and some good stuff there. And it is a pretty even early game. We'll call it out as well. Twisted Fate versus Galio, Java, and like both of these mid laners have ways to respond to the other. This isn't a Twisted Fate that is going to get free opportunity to teleport to a side lane with no response. Similarly with the Galio, you're going in, you will have the ability, you will have like Megamin able to follow as well. So it's going to be side lane action, you feel, from both of these teams. It'll just be a question about where they go. And I think it's probably for that reason, particularly that Dicey and Hettel have both gone towards Aftershock, not Glacial on these champions, saying, yeah, we're going to need the survivability because everybody will pile in if we start diving.
Yeah, I think that's far more important, honestly, for Hettel on this Nautilus, because they are... I honestly, actually, no. What I meant to say was I prefer it far more on Dicey. I would have loved to have seen Glacial actually on Hettel here, because there's a lot of kind of tank role players on the side of V3. Even if you go Galio and you go full AP, you still have off stuff. Like, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! With Predator Galio. We've not mentioned that yet. Like, this is a Galio who is planning to go all for the damaged and to be, like, doing 3-man taunts and getting these huge plays. You don't always get it, and especially when there is a lot of CC on the side of AXIZ into one incoming champion. Like, yeah, you might be able to get rid of something, but you can't stop a Leona and a gold card and a Viego stun. Like, there is just a lot of stuff. If you are running into the side of AXIZ, they can hold you back for a little bit. At least that's the theory, but obviously it depends if Washide's with them. It depends if Unica. It's like a lot of it is just V3 want to collapse onto AXIZ, and can AXIZ prevent that and then play reactively effectively enough? They've got some of the tools for it with Sangachu and with Swamp on the Zeri, on this Viego, but it's going to come down to it. And I love that you highlighted the side lanes, because I think it's going to be such an important part. What's up, my dude?
Look. That's all really great analysis, but I've got to call out, it is the best Urgot skin. It's a giant enemy crab got. Like, that skin is glorious. It's my favorite thing.
It's Pajama Party.
Look, I understand that Wannabe Star Guardian Urgot is a great skin, and don't get me wrong, it is. But giant enemy crab got is just a wonderful skin, and I think it's wonderful. I think the old Splash Eye is right up there with old school Lollipoppy levels of horror.
It is truly devastating to the mind to have to witness the giant crab. I
mean, I'm just saying, Zeri is kind of like not dissimilar in, like, it's basically if you cute anime girl like old school Lollipoppy. I'm just saying, look at that hair, look at the face shape. There's a world where, like, you must have seen the Lollipoppy edits.
Of course I know the Lollipoppy edits, mate. I'm from that era of the game. It is by far the scariest version. I mean, it's the same. Oh, I didn't know you could buffer that.
That was well buffered there. The Disdain does quite a lot of work. You can buffer out quite a lot of it. The problem is Yoshi is actually on next to 0 mana. He would have to think about resetting. Of course, Washide did get the earlier teleport back in. So there'll be a couple minions lost if Yoshi is trade for not having burned that teleport yet. And Unica going to take this option to invade onto the blue buff because of the resets coming through. That'll be a nice little steal away. And there's not really much of a way for Swamp to come and reply to this.
No. At best, they can hope to try and find a wraparound and maybe try and help invade onto the red buff. But you can already see the question mark ping going out there for most likely Swamp there going, well, I mean, that's where I'm planning to go. Walks over. Nope, it's already been taken. Yeah, that makes total sense. You've been playing under your turret for a while. No wonder. And just not able to secure that. Missed out the turret minion as well. God, Yellow Yoshi just having a difficult time on this Urgot at the moment. He will outscale this Gnar. Like, that is a one inevitability factor. And weirdly enough, top lane champions with inevitability.
That,
yeah, it's similar to the last game, mate. It's weird.
And of course, Mega Gnar is always going to be frustrating because Mega Gnar is Mega Gnar.
Yeah.
And of course, you have got like the kind of ability to play around with those boomerangs. You can play that side lane, but I kind of agree that basically, if it ever ends up at a point where you dive in and you don't really get the CC down the way you want it to, Urgot throws out the shotgun knees, walks around you a few times, and you go, well, now I'm low HP and this is a very sad life. In fact, they're going to gank up topside instead. They're looking for that gold card. Not going to get locked in before it comes through, and Washington forced to hop flash out of there. But that's a decent little look in from Megaman, who did manage to get the opportunity to roam top. Will allow them to start up this Herald now, knowing that Washington is not going to be at Mega, doesn't have the flash, and they can start playing around this with dress code recalling as well. They won't have the AD carry around to play Will V.
No, and the other important thing is when they did pop that ultimate for Megamin, it was the Destiny, right? Like they got to see the availability of where the rest of the team were, so they knew they could actually start this Herald with mostly without having to worry. So yes, it's unfortunate that they didn't lock in the yellow card to actually get Washi Day, but they still got the Herald. Like they benefited from this. They had vision control. They knew exactly where dress code was. They knew where everybody else would be. Secured it, not ideal, but still AXIZ not particularly falling far behind by any stretch of the imagination. Oh, that's gross. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you can. If you to think bar portals.
Yeah.
You can do silly things with Zeri if you've got the right. It's not quite the same, but you can do some very silly wall runs. Spark Surge is the name of the ability. There we go.
Oh, is it?
I have remembered pretty much all of Zeri's abilities, which is good news.
Do you know all the text though on her?
All the text, no, but I can like paraphrase it.
That's all you need.
She steals shields with her passive. Her auto attacks when she charges it up to like a slow and a static Shivi kind of ability. Her Q is effectively just Ezreal's Q but an auto attack.
Yes.
W is like a long range laser that slows people.
It's
E is largely run over walls and.
No, Jinx.
Yeah, well.
Zap. Similar to Zap.
Yeah, Jinx Zap. Yeah, exactly. And exactly. And then you got R as a lightning crash, which is like looks like Blitzcrank's ult, but just makes her really fast. And if she hits people, she runs even faster.
Yeah, it's Blitzcrank ult, but you jump up in the air, and it's. Oh, who has an ultimate that was very similar to it that I remember jumping into the air and coming down? Volley Bear.
Hang on. I mean, in fairness, actually, at the moment, I was about to mock you for that and realized, no, he is in fact the Thunder God, and it's called Stormbringer.
Yep.
So you know what? I take that image and I grudgingly accept it.
Thank you, sir. I knew I'd get you to grudgingly do something today on stream, and I got it. That's all I wanted. Okay, Reed, you're hearing this? You can end it. It's done. We're done. No,
it's done. We're out. That's it. 2 games in.
No.
1.5 games in. We're done. Like Lexi's won the day. There we go.
Yeah, I'm happy now. It doesn't matter that we've got LEC, Guestcaster, Nymera, and obviously one of our favorite play-by-play casters outside. Obviously, Initialize. We don't play favorites actually here at the LJL, but we got Midnight coming on as well.
I'm very excited to see him, guys. The problem is Nymera and Midnight together is one of those casting duos that you can expect a level of madness. And speaking of madness, we're going to see Megamin go towards the top side, but now the turnaround coming through. That was always the problem, but that's going to be the Disdain in. Doesn't quite work out. Yoshi having to flash away. Washington nearly at Mega Gnar. Will get the kill. Comes through, shoves him straight back. Unica's here as well. It's going to be a turnaround, the steal of the Gnar. But now they need to see how much damage they can get done around. That's going to be the heartbreak to make it a double. It's a 2-4 on the top side. Nice attempt from V3 to maybe turn that around, but they couldn't secure the kills quick enough. And the resets from Viego when you dive into him are just too strong.
God, you mentioned it. Diego wants you to jump into him, and then what just happened initialized? Exactly as you said. Let's come into this replay. And a lot of this actually begins out from Washide just finding a lot of effective poke onto Yellow Yoshi. He just has to kind of go, kind of dealing with this. However, Mana is in a good place. This Yellow comes in, immediate response from UJ because he is in that location. He gets to come in, and honestly, this should just be fair enough for the side of them. Yellow Yoshi plays far too aggressive and then gets kind of punished for it, but it's all Swamp here. Mega Min just playing really well around it. The yellow card to just kind of help buffer some stuff, so when he comes out, he doesn't immediately get Jarvined, and that was just really well played. Closer? No, Swamp, that's you, and you are a black magician. If anyone gets that reference.
We've got to call it out again. That is double Hullbreaker first item again for our top laners today. This item is becoming an LJL specialty.
We just always build it. First item. Everything else is optional. Mythics be damned. Hullbreaker.
None of that.
1v1 fight. We don't even want junglers in the top lane, but this time we have had junglers come up, and it's been far more of a top focused game. And I'm not surprised when you've got two global ultimate champions, really.
Yeah, and you can see here in the goal discrepancies as well, it's great for Swamp, big lead over Unica, but on the other side, the CS, the kill, giving a bit of an advantage to Washide early on. And I feel for Yellow Yoshi in that play because he went for the flash disdain, and I think he was about a pixel off getting a flip onto UJ, which would have meant a very dead Galio early on, and it didn't quite work out, and so he got turned around, and it worked out in the end. But I feel bad for that because that was really close to succeeding, and he ended up like, oh dear, I've dived very deep, and now I'm in trouble.
Yes, and if he had landed that, the shield on top of it absolutely would have kept him going. And we can't say with any form of confidence that, yes, guaranteed he wouldn't have died, but it would have caused way more issues for the side of V3 in actually securing that kill. And might have actually led to like a 3-for-1 in the grand scale of things for AXIZ if they had to hang around for a super long amount of time to get it. Mega Man is going to be the benefactor of this blue buff because Viego doesn't need it. Cooldown reduction's lovely, but he don't really need it. He's a busted champion in so many aspects, and as it currently stands,
indeed,
this is a pretty good place if you're the side of both AXIZ and V3. Like, AXIZ are kind of looking at this going, okay, well, we've got a slight gold lead at the moment. We're actually kind of not falling behind. If you're V3, you're looking at this going, if we can secure this dragon, we've got a secondary way of winning this game. We've also got dress code on a Jinx, and Jinx is the terrifying champion at the moment in the meta game. If you can't get Zeri, you play Jinx, and your win rate just automatically goes up about by 3%.
Very strong.
In the global meta. It's kind of just like, you just get the good champion, you win game.
Sure. Gonna see a fight around this Dragon Pit though. The AXIZ is coming in to fight. Dragon is dead, but the fight now continuing. Sanju put down the lightning crash, but that's a big turnaround from V3. Can they stay alive? Unica with a massive cataclysm, but the stopwatches are so strong. It's a 1-for-1 right now, but Jinx is excited. Zeri starting to run around as well, but look at what they're about to hit Meganar onto Sanju, trying to play out best they can, and that is a triple kill on for dress codes Jinx, but Sanju's still chasing around. Can they outrun the Zeri, who is being utterly disgusting to deal with? Continuing to avoids the zap under the tower. Look at the kill! Oh my days! Zeri is just too busted, a triple in return.
Oh my god! What a debut! Replacing Honey, and then you have a performance like that. What a statement. But honestly, from both Dress Code and Sangachu, because both of these AD carries honestly were jostling to kind of get the MV caliber performance. Obviously, this begins out with a huge engage coming through, Yu-Gi-Oh actually spacing them. But a huge issue that they have throughout all of this is they don't have Washide with Meganar. This game goes meant to have Washide immediately going with Mega, prevents so much of this, and this actually allows AXIZ to just have this super long fight, even with so much happening through Swamp and the CC chaining and all of this other stuff happening. It doesn't matter because our 280 carries throughout this whole fight are just jostling to do more damage. They don't get a good angle, and the fact that Sangachu just gets to keep going for so long because of the passive, it's just absurd. Wow, what a performance, but they're not done yet, and look at them initialize, they're coming back in.
No, it's back onto live, and I think that's a very dead, twisted fate. Megamin about to fall down. Dresco picks that one up and ties up the kill score with Sangchu. And what is it with the LJL and having this roster, this stable of incredible AD carries? Both of them turning up today and looking very, very strong. And Zeri, I know the Q's called burst fire, but I think she switched the selector on the side of that rifle. It's become automatic. She's going full auto in this game alongside the Jinx. It'll be as a result of Megabin falling as well. This second Herald going over towards V3. And the gold is in favor of AXIZ, but those early Drakes definitely V3 favored right now. And that could be a win condition as we are in a Mountain Rift. And you've got enough tanks here to make the, honestly, relatively low damage comp of AXIZ difficult to like continue the snowballing the way they have been doing with things like that Zeri in that last fight.
Yeah, but the fact is, and I love how you set that up for me, is they are a low damage comp. Currently, they are a low damage comp. As this game progressively goes on, because they've got like a skirmisher like Viego, a skirmisher, bruiser, weird thing, crab guy that is Urgot in general, like this team will eventually just have a lot of damage just through it. And the fact that this Zeri has been accelerated throughout the level of the game as to where she would normally be, this is actually a spot where AXIZ is looking at this going, well, we were expecting another 5 to 10 minutes till we get to this point. We're actually in a reasonable place. V3 need to be a bit more proactive. They've got this Jarvan. They've already found a few good spots. They've got this Rift Herald. They are down 2 turrets, whereas AXIZ actually have that turret advantage. They have the map control at the moment, and it is on V3 to find the angles in at the moment. They're grouping up, and they're going to be looking for most likely a pick onto either Sangachu, onto Megamin, or ideally Swamp. You just want to camp Swamp if possible, but he's a Viego jungle. It's almost impossible. But they're around this mid turret, and they're going for it. Dicey.
Oh, lots of damage coming through. Going to try and turn this around best they can. The lightning crash is popped by Sangju, but can they stay alive? 2 dead already. Turret has fallen, but Sangju avoiding the Everfrost, trying to back out best they can. It's a double for Yu-Gi-Oh! Sangju over the wall with the spark surge, and they're going to try and do their best to get something back. They do at least get that one, as you mentioned. Dress going onto the side, trying to trade out. It might be a 1-4, but no! It's a shutdown that comes towards Sangju, and the Zeri can start thinking about continuing to trade. Watch a Washi Day. He's nearly at Mega, does go forwards. It's a 2 for 2 all things. The difference, though, is the turret. And Sangju still with the ultimate running. The speed is so obscene. Sangju cannot be stopped. The burst fire going full auto one more time. He can keep chasing. He's going to do it again. No way. Sangju is going to make it a triple. This man is a monster.
What is this game? What is this champion? Yeah, no, this champion has to be banned every game. Sangju, what by the way, that's great for your hype reel, mate. Like, that is just throw it on there. This is an perfect performance. And it was a 2v4 for the longest time. Sangju focuses the turret very early on and pops the ultimate almost immediately because he's like, hey, I need to get the passive as soon as possible. If I get a kill, Hatel, you go a bit too far forward and actually triggers where this goes bad immediately because now the side of Swamp and Sangachu can just kite around and just play the minutia. The fact is, this 1v1 versus Dresscode and Sangachu, if anyone had helped Dresscode there, like, game's over. Like, they don't get to have this comeback potential for AXIZ here. The fact is, they played around it. They never actually heavily focused this Sangachu on this area, and they paid the ultimate price because they're like, oh, let's try and go for it when it's better for us. They don't do it, and they get collapsed on, mate. And it's just him getting a hype reel moment.
It's unreal. This is what Zeri does when she has the options. That final Ultra Shock laser securing another triple for the AD carry. And the thing with Zeri is if you cannot touch her, if you cannot CC her, those are the fights where she gets to be unmatched. Your extended fight, your extended chase down is just so strong. Now 9-1-1, you're beginning to see why this champion is so banned. Black Cleaver is stacked up. That's a Ravenous, or they Tiamat in inventory as well. And going to see whether they can get a bit of an engage. Yes, they've got that second Herald. It's actually a massive engage though, and Swamp just deletes Dresscode. He had flash, but no way out. It's a double for the stolen Jinx. And now with the bot lane dead, they can think about Baron here, and Dicey's just gonna play blocker, and Unica needs to find a way into this bit, or it's just gonna be a very dead Baron.
Yeah, but what's happening is exactly what happened last time when Sangachu on this area popped off. It's Yellow Yoshi on the opposite side of the map just going, guys, I'm just going to keep split pushing because the inevitability happened. Initialized. We said this at the very beginning. Eventually, Yellow Yoshi will just start to outscale this Nara, and Washide will want to kind of play with the team, whereas Yellow Yoshi's more like, hey, if you want to go help your team, that's fine. I'm going to try and push an advantage in this lane, and then I'll join the team afterwards. Hasn't had to do it because they've been popping off so much in a 2v4 scenario, which is just unholy. So now they just get to keep pushing, and look at this poor lane. And now Yellow Yoshi resets, goes back, gets his, oh my god, gets the Hydra, and now it's like, all right, boys, 2 items, Spike, I'm ready to go.
This was a thing at Worlds as well, which is like, I know there was a little bit of rumors about seeing a bit more Urgot aside from Ebi, where you could just kind of rush the Titanic Hydra at that point, even because it was so strong on the champion. But Hullbreaker plus Titanic Hydra, a lot of wave clear, a lot of tower damage, and especially if Washidai is trying to get in towards some of these fights, he's going to struggle to get there close enough. And especially now you've kind of seen like, okay, we burnt all our CC, killing off Mega Min, and it's like, yes, but Zeri is free on the side and just destroying people. She's got a Hurricane now as well. She's 3 items with that Tiamat, with the Black Cleaver, which she stacks up instantly with 1 Q, by the way.
Yeah.
Instant Black Cleaver stacks is the reason it's so strong on this champion. I am struggling to see how V3 come back into this unless they manage to murder the Zeri. Kill the Zeri, you might have a chance, but you've got to survive, take this tower safely at first. And as it stands, there's just not much you can do.
Oh, Fear Beyond Death comes in though.
I'd love to see, but I've lost Parsec briefly. Please save me. As
I will keep
my
going
screen
because
is
they're diving in further and further deeper. They don't want to stop, and Swab immediately gets the dredge line and then transforms back around. This guy's playing like multiple champions perfectly, and they just keep engaging. V3 get decimated, and AXIZ are looking for the kills.
They managed to come in, and that, Mexi, is why you're a great cast. You saved me from myself there. My computer decided that was too graphic even for me to witness there. It's another.
I don't know if that was legal for Twitch, I'll be honest.
In favor of AXIZ. Sangju putting on a clinic. Sangju putting on a clinic here in this game. What an incredible Zeri performance. And this AXIZ team find 2 wins in 2 different styles and look exceptionally convincing in both. We might actually have another dark horse for a top table team here. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna keep off my hopefulness. It's not the same AXIZ, but let's see a few more. Let's see a few more of those. Can we get over the 4-win hump? My minimum to make playoffs, by the way, is about 8 wins, because we're triple round robin, ladies and gentlemen, remember. They're already 1/4 of the way there, Initialize. Oh my god. Are they here?
We'll AXIZ have done this before. AXIZ have done this before, so we need to see them succeed a little bit further. And it turns out Lightning can indeed strike, or at least crash twice. Sangchu Zeri proving absolutely devastating. And another win for AXIZ. We're going to cut to a quick break. And when we come back, Jay will be turning with the analyst desk. So don't go anywhere. See you in a few.
we are back. We've had one very long and drawn-out game, and one, well, pretty fast. Fast like lightning, some might say. And that brings us to the first point. Well, Zeri, we mentioned it at the start of the show, supposedly the best champion in the game. I would say that that's a good statement to prove it.
So, yes, I think there's some ways. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sanctuary played it phenomenally. And this is the way that Zeri can work in a team like this. Like, obviously, you have the Jarvan, Galio, Nautilus combo to try and just dive on her and murder her. Like, as much CC as you can bring. And that's kind of what Zeri sucks at, is like, if you have hard CC, she can't do those extended fights that she's so dangerous in, as we saw in that game where she just run everyone down the map. That said, you didn't get the combo onto her. She managed to dodge out of all of it. And then the back end of fights, even after Jinx gets excited, you just don't win if she gets to run you down and you don't have any range to slow her out.
I'm of the opinion, if someone gets Zeri, you have to play Camille. You have to play Camille. It's one of the few bits of CC which actually contains Zeri.
Or something else with pick CC, yeah.
Yeah, like you or pick heavy CC or just get the cage. Just get the cage. Or Veigar, weirdly enough, initialized, right?
Well, not that I know Gerald wants to go on, but I'll say this one quickly, because there are two ways to beat Zoe. You're right. Lots of CC, because then she doesn't get to do what she's doing, or smash her in lane. You can smash her in lane, and it's been very doable. And like you absolutely can. And like it's definitely been like you run a Phelios lanes, Jinx lanes with like proper setup, and you can dive her, you can make her life hell. It's been done around the world, and it's very doable. And especially if she then becomes low in damage, she doesn't get to do what she did in this game. Neither of those things happened though, and you see the results.
Yeah, it is a pretty damning performance. My personal opinion on it is pick Fiddlesticks. It's a favorite jungler of mine.
I love it.
Also, just a lot of CC.
Honestly, I really like that. You can fear and hard CC and jump on it. It's great.
It's just a lot of damage, a lot of fearing, and she can't really move it too much. But yeah, Zeri is seemingly just absolutely ridiculous. I want to go back to a really important point from that game, and this is actually probably the most crucial point that you guys mentioned. Butcher Urgot is the best skin. I don't know where you guys were going with Crab God and Star Guardian. It's definitely Butcher Urgot. So we have to kind of put that one to rest.
Mate, look, I know we've just brought this guy in and we did a lot of interviews, but I think he's got to go. It's been a day.
My bad.
He's done.
My beat. That's all I'll say. But no. Oh, God. Now the producer's giving his opinion.
Production's weighing in as well now. They're none of this.
Just a skin, boys.
We're going to have to start a prediction poll in chat. Like, well, what is the best Urgot skin? There you go.
All right, I'll run it.
But on to more pressing matters, though. Hullbreaker, top lane. What, 2 games now, 4 Hullbreakers. Is this the new meta? Do Mythics no longer exist in top lane? Is it just Hullbreaker for the world?
I'll be real. It's an LJL special. Like, we are used to local meta stuff. Like, we had the bot lane hyper carry meta. We've had Nara Necton be like a standard flag bearer where it's nowhere near as much meta. Nara will always be meta in the LJL. I'm of the opinion it's an LJL special, but that's me.
And your take on the Hullbreaker, Nicholas?
It is an LJL special, but I see the reasoning.
Yeah.
Both of these games, both side laners have wanted to play pretty hard towards the side, and you answer with the Hullbreaker to match the stats, right? Because otherwise you kind of actively lose some of those 1v1s or the 2v1s that can kind of throw through when you've got a Galio and a Twisted Fate coming to join you. You're expecting to be outnumbered at some point potentially in that side lane, especially if you are being the split push threat. So it does make sense, right? Like you get more side lane pressure, you're better in the 1vx scenarios. That all makes sense, especially when they're bruiser champions as well. It's all good stuff on that front. It's just a question about, is it a first buy item? And I don't know enough about the numbers to really come to a conclusion on that. I see how it's supposed to work. I don't know whether it's efficient or not. Someone else might have to run those numbers for me.
I'll be real, mate. I just quickly browsed over a bunch of LCK and LPL players, right? In the top lane, just average builds, right? You can go check this on GOL, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
No one's building Hullbreakers.
I've seen like one Hullbreaker, like it's an LJL special. We're the only ones doing it, but I see the theory behind it. I just don't know whether it's the best better build, right?
Well, who knows? Maybe it will become meta. Maybe LJL will spark something. Maybe it won't be. Maybe it will
be the first time.
LJL
Every did the year got into the gangplank. It's been done.
But either
Yeah.
way, we are going to cut to a break. We will be joined by Midnight and Nymera, as we are going to have to say goodbye to Initialize and Master Swan for the next 2 games. But Zeri or not, these are going to be electrifying, so you don't want to miss a thing.